We're recording already. Hello? I didn't mean to do that, but we're gonna start. Bo Houjicha, made by Forthees. Another one from the same people who made the Tamaryokucha that we just had, from Nagasaki, Japan. So, as I thought, Bo is a name for like stem, basically. So there's no leaf in here, or if there is, it's very little. I see almost entirely stems here. Now I've had a tea like this before, and actually I will say I really liked it. That was coming from Ippodo, and they call it Kuki Houjicha. And it was one of my first teas that in the restaurant setting I put on a wine pairing to go with some kind of like roasted onion soup, something like that. Anyway, usually pretty good response on the tea and on the pairing, and again I really liked it. So these, it looks like it's roasted a little lighter than it. There's some leaf, and actually the leaf is darker than the stem. So the leaf is like a dark chocolate brown, while the stem is not really too different of a color than this bag, frankly. In some cases it's a shade darker, and it's got a sheen to it. But otherwise, I mean, it's very much like a kind of like a paper bag brown. Aroma wise, it's pretty similar to what the Kuki Houjicha smelled like from Ippodo, in a woody, chocolatey, I want to say like hot, something in my mind is like hot rubber. Yeah, some paper baggy, brown paper bag, hot rubber, woody. Nothing smoky about it at all. Yeah, kind of like a sharp aroma. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting anyway. I'm gonna use boiling water. We're gonna go 2 minutes. Water's ready. Alexa, start a timer for 2 minutes.
2 minutes, starting now.
Got a little bit of a dance going on for the... Some of them float, some of them sink. It's kind of like a slightly less graceful version of Junshan Yinshan from China. Now the main difference between this and what I loved about the Cookie Hojicha from Ippodo was there's like a sour smell in here. Sour woody. So going towards the grassy side of it. I should probably rinse this off. Okay. It's like the very, very surface. Alexa, stop. It's like the very surface level. It reminds me of coffee, the roasted aroma that you get from coffee. But like that's like the top of the top notes. As soon as you start looking deeper, that changes. That kind of sour, grassy aroma that I was talking about is kind of pervasive in. Hopefully, it's not going to be in this one too. Now it smells a little bit more kind of blended into something. So let's see. Slightly kind of oily fried, thinking like French fries. Kind of like poorly made French fries, like kind of when they get soggy. I wonder what that smell is. I can't really relate to it, frankly. I mean, there's something there, obviously. I'm like grasping at straws really to figure out what that is. Well, to describe it, maybe a little bit simpler. It's brown. It smells like it was burned and then washed, so that it is now weak burned. A little coffee like light roast. A little popcorn like. No condiments, just popcorn, not even any butter or salt or anything. And then a little bit like hay, I guess. Not fresh hay, stampede hay, like hay bales. They're ornamental. They're not meant for anything. They decorate stuff. Those almost have no smell, but I think they do have a little bit of something, and I think that smells like this. And then at the very end, is there a tea smell in here? I think I see one. Kind of, maybe just barely. Bancha like grassiness. But that one is pretty mild. So the color is a light brown, I would say, kind of in the khaki khaki orange. It's got I would say it's going towards orange and pink almost equally, but mostly khaki, and it is quite clear. 10 out of 10 for the clarity. No astringency, a little bit sweet, pretty easy drinking. Sweetness lingers. Simple. It's like a folk tea anyway. It's not like you'll remember it forever. It's pleasant enough. I suppose if you were in a park, in a shack, and they were selling tea that you can drink in the park, this would be pretty nice. There's a bit of a cocoa-like, kind of slightly malty grain, not multi-grain, malted grain note in there. And I suppose if I said which one it is, I would say that's either malted rye, which I think is quite hard to do, but of course possible. Rye or barley. It's not wheat. It's not corn. It's not rice. Malted grain, huh? That's probably pretty accurate, better than what I've been saying earlier. I mean, it's okay. I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't sell it. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily, because I think if someone wants to go down this path of, like, I don't know, brown flavored teas, if it was a stem tea, I would still probably recommend Ippodo's Kuki Hojicha over this, just for, I guess, power, complexity and power sake. Although theirs is a little bit deeper roasted, and I think this may be a touch sweeter. I prefer theirs, but then again, if I wanted sweetness, I would probably drink Kyobancha, or if I wanted a greener aroma, more herbal, I would probably drink Masaka Bancha. And then there's also like Tosa Bancha, which I think is similar, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's, of course, lots of Hojicha, which can be very interesting. So what's the reason why you drink this? Maybe it's because you want to drink Nagasaki tea, maybe. Maybe I brewed it poorly. I don't. It's possible. Do I think I can brew this so that it changes my life forever and makes it my favorite stem tea? I doubt it, but I'm gonna try. If I did, I would steep it for like 5 minutes, and I don't think I'd make it stronger. Well, I think the amount of flavor that it has is not the issue as much as it's the richness. If this could be richer, then I think a lot of the problems would be fixed. And I believe that's a time thing more than a ratio thing. But I think maybe just to prove that, or since I only have one more shot, I'll do both. So I'll do, this is 1 to 75, so I'll do 1 to 60, and steep for 5 minutes from boiling, and we'll see. I'm going to pause this for now, and then I'll kind of resume once I have that going. And actually, just like every other video where I say I'm going to do that, I then look across the table and see my empty carafe of stuff that I should smell. Slightly smoky, slightly woody, not slightly woody, quite woody. Better than saying this is chocolate, it'd be better to say this is like a mushroom powder. Maybe a reishi mushroom. Maybe scarlet cordyceps. So it opens another whole window of aroma for me to think in the mushroom world. But no, it's not in here. That's just in there. Maybe it's gonna be in the next pot. I'll brew it now. Kind of mesmerized watching this tea do its dance. Same as with, as I said, Junshan, Yinshan. But the difference is because now you have a separation of, like, there's some leaf particles and then there's some stems. I'm watching them trade places. Like, it's been over 5 minutes. I'm kind of starting to steep past. Probably by this, when I finish talking, it's going to be steeping for 6 minutes. That's okay. I noticed that at the beginning, any stem that was kind of held down by leaves kind of struggled to get free and then shot quickly up. And that after like 3 minutes, 2-3 minutes, a lot of the leaves started to drop. At about 4 minutes, some of the twigs themselves, like when they're smaller than 5 millimeters, they started to drop. And then closer to 5 minutes, some of the bigger ones started to drop. But nothing is coming up anymore. Everything is falling now. So it's kind of interesting, being that they have different shapes. I think it brings another dimension to the whole thing. But yeah, maybe I'm just a lunatic, which is entirely possible. So let's steep this probably 6 minutes-ish, rolling boiling temperature, 1 to 60 ratio. The color of the tea does look more orange than before. We were in kind of like a brown, and as I said, it's kind of trying to decide whether to be orange or pink. This time, it's pretty distinctly orange. Pale orange, but orange nonetheless. Roasted aromas, first and foremost. Something kind of chocolatey. It's like if you screwed up hazelnut chocolate because the hazelnuts were over roasted or burned or something. But actually, I think that hazelnuts is not too far off from this. When they're roasted, especially before you remove the filbert, I think it's called. That's like the skin on the outside. That, no, I'm pretty sure filbert is not the word I'm looking for. But yeah, anyway, when you roast hazelnuts, there's like a layer of skin on the outside that flakes off. That turns quite a dark brown when you roast it. I would say that actually that's probably pretty close to this aroma. Okay. It's initially much more intense than the previous one was, but still not crazy. Like 6 out of 10. But it's much more harmonious now than it was earlier. The aroma and the concentration are pretty much the same. Maybe the texture, the weight is probably 5 though. Still not really a finish. That, I mean, not a great finish. There's just something there, but maybe that's a 5 too. And there's no astringency. So much better than the first pot that I brewed. Still wouldn't buy it though. It's just not fulfilling the role I want it to fulfill enough. But that's okay. I'm sure that it's not an expensive tea. I'm sure there's a big market for this somewhere. Yeah, that the rubbery aroma I mentioned earlier is more in here now, in the wet leaf. And actually that rubbery aroma is actually not rubber as much as I want to say it's something related to asphalt or tar. I just couldn't make that connection earlier. It's like road repair slash it's a few days after road has been paved where the really intense tar smell is gone, but then there's something there. But anyway, the parking lot or whatever it is like beautifully black and very smooth, and there's just like, I guess, oil slicks maybe in the sun, some aroma like that. The aroma's black anyway. Yeah. Maybe let me say one more time then. I wouldn't buy it to sell. If this was offered at a restaurant or a cafe when I went there, if I could have it while I eat dinner, something like that, I would pay for it by the pot. I think that's a compliment. Now and again, I think I would enjoy it. It's just, yeah, again, I wouldn't sell it because I don't believe it has enough going for it to warrant that, but it's nice. So thank you.